Surfers Paradise Street Circuit in Queensland, Australia, plays host to Round 3 of the Open Wheel Racing Championship. The cars will be using the 1.85 mile beachside configuration that has several fast sections and 2 quick slalom chicanes. The bumpy nature of the high-speed track caught several drivers out, including Imran Sheikh, Jamie Carrera, and even usual frontrunner Alex Cochrane wasn't immune to making mistakes. Christophe Bose showed exactly how it was done though, as he pushed his Griffin gaming machine to the absolute limit. This was demonstrated by his clever method of how to tackle the slalom chicanes, like on this onboard here. Through the high camber turns, he came over the start-finish line to post a time of 1 minute 13.659 seconds, taking pole position by a comfortable 8/10. The DAC cars of David Southwood and Cochrane were next behind. Panos Speedy and Tim Eichentema made up the top 5 in the Bytown Expresses, while it was a poor 6th fastest on the softs for Matt DJ. The start saw pole sitter Bose lead the line well, with Southwood and Cochrane in hot pursuit. Amazingly, everyone got through the first slalom chicane without incident. Meanwhile, Aidan Hill was too eager by moving before the red lights had extinguished. A drive-through penalty was the award for the Tyrone AMG pilot. Further ahead, Speedy was able to pull out of Cochrane's slipstream and take 3rd place into one of the slower chicanes round the opening lap. As the Bytown car continued to find good speed through the second slalom chicane of the circuit, he was able to pull alongside the second DAC of Southwood, but left his braking too late. Contact with the barrier rebounded Speedy back into the path of Cochrane, causing mayhem by spinning around the DAC. We show the collision again from Cochrane's view. Luckily, no one else was involved, but it did drop him to 5th after the spin. At the back, Hill decided to get his drive-through out of the way by servicing it at the end of lap 1. A couple of tours later, Cochrane's onboard shows a spinning Speedy, narrowly missing both Cochrane and Sheikh in front. A fine test for quick reactions. Sheikh's loss of momentum following his evasive manoeuvre had allowed the DAC to close in. As they came up to the start-finish straight, with DRS, there was only going to be one winner. Sheikh was slipping back in 4th position, as Hill, who was making up for lost time, made an audacious move on him, exiting Surfers Paradise Boulevard. Sheikh was able to keep going, and Hill, after the next turn, wisely relinquished the position. You could argue that Sheikh left the door open on the inside, but to avoid falling foul of the stewards again, Hill played it safe and gifted the place back. Moving on to lap 10, Sheikh and Speedy's melodies in this race continued, this time with each other. At the same spot as his earlier collision with Hill, Sheikh turns in on the Bytown, and the pair were lucky to keep their cars pointing in the right direction. Speedy was clearly the faster of the two drivers. so he started to shake like glue and piled on the pressure. It was just a matter of time. Eventually, thanks to a lockup from the orange liveried machine, Speedy was able to take advantage and move up to 4th. A turning point in the race and championship occurred 5 laps later. Southwood ducked into the pits for a new set of tyres, but failed to obey the mandatory 80km/h pit lane speed limit in time. This resulted in a 20-second stop-and-go penalty. A costly error indeed. Race leader Bowes was the next to come in, and although his entry wasn't quite as frantic as Southwood's, he still wasn't able to escape punishment. The championship leader is in for his stop-and-go penalty, which in racing terms must feel like an eternity to the driver in the cockpit. This dropped him to 4th, behind Eichen Temmer. You can sense the urgency Southwood would feel at this stage, and so after 9 laps since his extra trip to the pits, he was on the tail of the Bytown. The pit straight would be his best chance. After 3 laps closely following the Bytown, and with the use of DRS, 3rd place was Southwood's. A lap later, and Southwood's race would take another turn for the worse. Pushing too hard through the second slalom chicane of the circuit, lost control, hit the barrier, and was facing the wrong way. Just watch how close he was to being T-boned by Eichen Temmer. Thankfully, he was able to turn the car around, and he got going again. Not even a 10-second time penalty could halt Bowes' charge, who would go on to win by an impressive 8 seconds, bringing an end to DAC's dominance from the opening 2 rounds. Whilst his rivals had their own troubles, you could say it was a fair assault to say the least. The 2 Bytown Express cars were 2nd and 3rd, with Speedy coming home ahead of Eichen Temmer. Southwood's Melodies had seen him cross the line in 6th, behind teammate Cochrane. Moving on to the standings, DAC Racing add 19 points to the top. However, a good result for Bytown and Griffin Gaming see their lead at the top start to decrease. With Alex also having to miss Suzuka, another good result from either team, and we could start to see DAC's lead shrink significantly. A poor result for Matt DJ from Gen Z, and an excellent one for Christoph Bowes has seen Griffin Gaming leapfrog Gen Z for 3rd place in the Constructors. With more teams set to take on OWR's top drivers, and with a full 20 driver grid lockout next race, it is sure to be a thriller. Tune in next race at Suzuka.